The story begins with a hooded monster wandering through the forest of the demon world, a routine he has maintained for decades. This remote area serves as his sanctuary, and days usually pass without change. However, the daily routine breaks when he discovers a collapsed figure on the ground. He's shocked as he recognizes the unconscious child, Noah Gran, his favorite character from a game he played in his previous life. Panic sets in. Why is such an important character in a place this dangerous? He remembers a prequel episode from the original story where Noah gets lost in the demon world, but eventually finds her way home on her own. For a moment, he considers leaving her to preserve the timeline, but he cannot do it. Even though he is a monster in a world where guardians hunt his kind to protect humanity, he chooses to save her. If this decision leads to his death, he finds a strange comfort in the thought. After all, being killed by his favorite character would not be such a bad fate. The narrative shifts to the past in Lalech Town within the Northern Territory. A young Noah endures a harsh existence at an orphanage. She endures grueling chores, cleaning sewers and toilets, only to receive meager pay and demands for even harder labor. No matter how much effort she gives, she is treated cruelly, thrown to the ground, and reminded that, as a slave, she has no right to complain or rest. Years pass, and Noah grows up still bound by chains. Eventually, a wealthy man takes an interest in her and buys her freedom from the orphanage. At first, life seems better. She is given a soft bed and proper meals, and it feels like she has entered heaven. The illusion does not last. Her new master subjects her to physical abuse, turning comfort into another form of suffering. That chapter of her life ends abruptly when she and several other slaves are taken beyond the safety of the residential walls. Confusion becomes terror as they realize they have been abandoned in the demon world. From atop the wall, the Lord coldly declares that their release is nothing more than entertainment. He thanks the Guardian and announces the start of playtime as a pack of dog-like monsters descends upon them. Noah reacts on instinct, magic swirling around her hands as she strikes back. The Lord notes her hidden talent with mild interest, amused that her attacks barely slow the beasts. Determined to survive, she dodges lethal blows and refuses to surrender. Cornered against a tree with no escape in sight, her desperation triggers a massive wave of hidden power. The explosion obliterates the surrounding horde. Stumbling away from the carnage, she reaches a quiet, grassy clearing. Wondering if she has reached heaven, she collapses from exhaustion. In the present, Noah wakes in a strange bed, disoriented. The door opens, and a boar trots in, followed by a hooded monster. He notices she is awake and briefly considers a playful staring contest, but she immediately attacks. Chairs and tables rise into the air and launch at him with deadly force. He quickly realizes she has awakened her unique ability, telekinesis, far earlier than in the original story. With a simple spell, he neutralizes the flying furniture. Noah is stunned. This creature is far stronger than the monsters she fought before. In one last desperate attempt, she focuses her power on his neck, trying to strangle him. He senses the attack yet feels strangely at peace. Dying at the hands of his favorite character almost seems fitting. However, her strength fails before she can finish. The pressure fades and she collapses onto the bed, defeated and believing her struggle has ended in vain. Later, Noah wakes to the scent of roasting meat. She grimly assumes she is about to be cooked alive, but soon realizes the hooded monster is roasting a boar instead. He prepares a small portion and offers it to her. Though wary and confused, she accepts when her hunger betrays her. He worries the meat is burnt and unseasoned, yet to Noah it tastes overwhelming. Tears stream down her face as she eats. The simple meal carries a warmth and kindness she has rarely known. Seeing her cry, the hooded monster instinctively pulls her into a gentle embrace. He knows her tragic past from his previous life and understands her suffering. Despite a world where humans and monsters are sworn enemies, he cannot abandon her. Noah tugs at his hood, seeking reassurance that he is on her side. He nods. Her genuine smile shines so brightly that he shyly hides his face. Curious, she asks if he can speak. He shakes his head no, but nods eagerly when asked if he understands human language. She reflects bitterly that humans treated her as disposable, while a monster shows her compassion. Realizing he has no name, she decides to give him one. After a moment of thought, she chooses Ray, saying his hood makes him look like a ghost. The name is simple, but he accepts it with pure joy. His favorite character has named him. Now called Ray, he watches her eat with renewed resolve. Though he cannot speak, he silently vows to support her always. The warm moment shatters when Noah thanks him for everything, but announces she cannot stay. Her words break his heart. Noah announces that she will return to the human world. Though her memories of it are painful, she feels an inexplicable pull to go back. She thanks Ray for the meal and the brief peace he gave her, then steps outside to face the forest alone. Ray watches her leave, wanting to respect her choice, but he cannot allow her to walk into the dangers of the demon world by herself. Deep in the forest, Noah is soon overwhelmed by aggressive beasts. Just as one lunges for a killing blow, Ray intervenes and destroys it instantly. Without words, he makes it clear that he will accompany her as a bodyguard. Relieved and moved by his loyalty, she accepts. She understands now that she cannot survive this journey alone. That night, they rest beside a fire. Noah reflects on the earlier fight and realizes Ray did not use ordinary magic, which is rarely strong enough to kill in a single strike. Curious, she asks him to show his true power. Instead of attacking, Ray gestures toward her injured legs. A warm light surrounds her, healing her wounds and restoring both her strength and stamina. It is a skill he perfected over decades of reincarnation. Noah is stunned. She expected destructive power to match his intimidating appearance. Not such a gentle restoration. Laughing softly, she notes the irony of a monster with healing abilities. Ray does not fully grasp her amusement, but he is happy to see her smile. In this world, monsters are normally weak against holy energy, a rare power wielded only by certain humans with special abilities. Ironically, Ray, a monster, possesses this very power. Eventually, they reach the towering walls of the fortress city Ulus. Noah recognizes it. Once, people lived beyond the walls, but relentless monster invasions forced humanity to retreat behind these fortifications. Believing she will be safe under the Boundary Guardian's protection, she bids Ray farewell and urges him to return to the forest for his own safety. As she turns to leave, a sword suddenly pierces Ray's chest from behind. He realizes he let his guard down and failed to sense the human presence. The attacker withdraws the blade, revealing himself as a guardian. To the soldier's shock, Ray calmly activates his healing magic, restoring the damage to his demon core, something impossible for an ordinary monster struck by a holy weapon. Determined to finish the job, the Guardian leaps for another strike. Noah throws herself between them, screaming for him to stop. She activates her telekinesis, lifting nearby stones and aiming them at the soldier. The Guardian hesitates, confused, then recognizes her as the child cast out of the city the previous day. Understanding that a surviving ability user, accompanied by a seemingly tame monster, is beyond his authority, the soldier lowers his weapon. He introduces himself as Will Steele, the newly assigned Southern Border Guardian. Apologizing for the sudden attack, he suggests they meet the supervisor to clarify the situation. As they approach the gates, Will notices Ray following. Noah firmly insists she will not abandon him after he saved her life. Reluctantly, Will hands her a large cloth to conceal Ray's appearance. As she wraps it around him, Ray quietly wonders how effective the disguise truly is. Will escorts them to headquarters and warns Noah to keep the monster quiet to avoid immediate extermination. He knocks on the supervisor's office door but enters without waiting. Inside, Liberota Rosaria sits at his desk and scolds Will for his impatience. Will introduces Noah. Rosaria approaches her with visible relief and bows deeply, apologizing for the Guardian's failure to stop the Lord's cruelty toward the orphans. Noah accepts the apology with grace, placing blame on the perpetrators rather than the protectors. From beneath the cloth, Ray observes the warm exchange. Will abruptly criticizes Rosaria for being overly emotional, and Ray suspects the man is simply hiding his own relief behind a stern demeanor. Attention then turns to the concealed figure. At Will's signal, Noah removes the cloth, allowing Ray to stand freely. Rosaria is stunned. In 50 years of battling monsters, he has never seen one like this. Noah quickly defends Ray, explaining that he saved her life and poses no threat. To prove it, she asks if he is on her side. Ray nods immediately, internally motivated by his devotion to her, which leaves the supervisor speechless. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, Rosaria schedules an emergency meeting for the next day. Will then adds another revelation. Noah has awakened an ability and must now serve as a guardian. She can no longer live as a normal civilian. Noah accepts this without hesitation, knowing she has nowhere else to go. Then she delivers one final shock. Ray is also an ability user. The statement leaves both Will and Rosaria utterly stunned. Later, Noah relaxes in a warm bath, marveling at her sudden change in fortune. Sitting in the tub, she wonders if it is truly acceptable for someone like her to live in such a splendid house. Meanwhile, outside, Will knocks to announce his arrival. The door opens abruptly, but not by hand. A burst of wind pressure pulls him inside the house. Will is startled to find Ray wearing an apron, having used wind magic to open the door remotely to avoid being seen by other guardians. Will stares in disbelief as he realizes the monster is currently cooking breakfast. Ray, however, sees nothing strange about preparing a meal for his favorite character. The absurdity of the situation reminds Will of the previous day's revelations. The narrative flashes back to the meeting with the supervisor, Rosaria. When Noah revealed that Ray was an ability user, Rosaria had hesitantly asked for a demonstration. Ray obliged by flowing his energy into her. The supervisor was left trembling in shock, realizing that a monster was wielding holy energy, specifically a high-level recovery ability that usually only high-ranking healers like Rosaria herself can perform. Returning to the present, Ray happily hums while cooking, amused by the memory of their reactions. Will asks about Noah's whereabouts just as she enters the room, looking refreshed and neatly dressed. Will hands over a package of additional supplies, prompting a wave of gratitude from Noah. She thanks him profusely, overwhelmed by the food, clothing, and housing provided to her. Will humbly insists he is merely following the supervisor's directives. Meanwhile, Ray is internally dazzled, finding Noah's clean and happy appearance blindingly beautiful. Will informs her that an exclusive meeting will take place once the sun is fully up and promises to return to escort her. After he exits, Noah smiles to herself, reflecting on her fate. She had expected to return to slavery if she ever escaped the demon world. She never imagined she would be treated with such overwhelming kindness. Ray gently pats Noah on the head, wishing internally that she would develop some self-esteem rather than constantly doubting her worth. Noah's attention shifts to the breakfast table, where she discovers the meal Ray prepared. She is baffled by the domestic skills of a monster, but finds herself feeling at ease as she eats, jokingly wondering if he is trying to win her over through her stomach. Curious about the package Will left behind earlier, Ray opens it to find a book titled The Tale of the Great Hero Silva. He sees this as a perfect opportunity to learn the written language of this world. He taps the cover, gesturing for Noah to read it to him. However, Noah's expression darkens. She stares at the characters helplessly and apologizes, revealing that she cannot read. Ray is instantly furious, not at Noah, but at the supervisor and the cruel society that failed her. In this world, books are precious commodities reserved for the upper class, while entertainment is a luxury few can afford. Guardians are granted these privileges only because they risk their lives protecting humanity in the most dangerous territories. The system forces young men and women near the demon realm to awaken their abilities and fight, a brutal reality that reminds Ray of the unforgiving game settings from his past life. As the sun fully rises, Will returns to escort them to the headquarters. Noah nervously asks about the executives they are about to face. Will tries to reassure her, claiming they are people of common sense, though Ray remains skeptical. They arrive at the meeting hall and enter through the large gates. Inside, the supervisor sits at a round table surrounded by other high-ranking officials. The tension in the room is palpable immediately, as one of the female executives sharply demands an explanation from Rosaria regarding the presence of the intruders. The atmosphere in the meeting room is tense, as the executives whisper among themselves, speculating on what Lilia might have foreseen regarding the new arrival. Liberota cuts through the gossip, warning the group that regardless of their intuition, recklessness will not be tolerated. She demands composure from her team before officially introducing Noah as their newest member. Noah bows respectfully, stating her name and age to the room. The tension breaks immediately as the executives rush to welcome her. A woman named Rose steps forward first, warmly insisting that Noah drop the formalities and treat them like family. Eric, aware of Noah's difficult past, offers his sympathy and laughingly tells her to relax when she responds too stiffly. Another executive, Albert, chimes in to emphasize that they are all friends now. He points out Lilia, noting that she is even younger than Noah. Lilia brushes off the comment with a slightly brash attitude but agrees to get along. Finally, a timid girl named Tsubaki introduces herself, her demeanor noticeably more hesitant than the others. Ray, listening from inside the bag, is relieved to see Noah being accepted so readily by the group. However, the mood shifts when Eric points to the mysterious package Noah is holding. Liberota announces that the contents of the bag are the main topic of today's meeting and signals Noah to proceed. Inside the confinement, Ray feels a spike of genuine fear. He realizes that facing a room full of high-level executives is a death sentence for a monster, and he wonders if he will make it out alive. As Noah opens the cloth to reveal him, the reaction is instantaneous. Before anyone else can process the sight, the timid Tsubaki dashes forward with terrifying speed, slashing her sword directly at Ray's neck. In that split second, he fears that dodging the attack might be impossible. Before Tsubaki's blade can connect, Will steps in, blocking the attack and preventing a fatal incident. Ray glares furiously at the attacker, but Liberota quickly intervenes to de-escalate the situation. Tsubaki sheathes her weapon and apologizes, explaining that her body moved on its own the moment she sensed a monster's presence. Noah rushes to check on Rei, who is visibly shaken, realizing that Tsubaki's speed was so immense that he couldn't react at all. Lilia scolds Tsubaki for failing to remain calm as instructed. Eric chimes in, joking that calm is a poor choice of words for someone who enters a mindless frenzy during combat. Tsubaki sheepishly admits she has trouble holding back. Liberota thanks Will for his quick reflexes, though Will sarcastically notes that the executives seem to lack the common sense he had promised Noah earlier. Sensing Noah's rising anger over the unprovoked attack, Liberota quickly pivots the conversation to the official explanation. The supervisor formally introduces Rei to the group. The executives immediately crowd around him, fascinated by the anomaly of a monster possessing both high intelligence and a specific ability. Rei feels overwhelmed by their intense scrutiny and lack of personal space. Liberota emphasizes that she wants to secure Rei specifically for his recovery skills. Rose remarks that the power sounds similar to her own, but Liberota clarifies the distinction. Rose specializes in wide-area sustained recovery, while Rei is a single-target specialist. Rei confirms this limitation, much to Liberota's relief. If he could instantly heal multiple targets at once, he would be dangerously overpowered. Eric questions the potency of the ability, prompting a demonstration. Rei proceeds to heal the executives one by one. As he works, he marvels at their confidence. They show absolutely no fear of a monster standing right in front of them, a testament to their own overwhelming strength. Even Tsubaki is impressed by the surge of power. Rose wonders if his method is more efficient than hers, but Liberota notes that Rose's ability is more tactical, as it simultaneously enhances allies' combat endurance and weakens enemies within range. Rose acknowledges the strategic value of Rei's power, noting that while his presence is helpful, her own workload likely won't decrease. Rei silently agrees with the assessment. Analyzing the difference between their skills, Rose utilizes holy energy to buff allies and debuff monsters over a wide area, making her essential for group combat. In contrast, Rei is a single-target specialist with potent healing but no area of effect capabilities. The executives proceed to vote on Rei's inclusion. Rose suggests assigning an executive to monitor him until trust is established. Eric votes in favor, trusting Liberota's judgment. Tsubaki and Albert agree, though Albert adds a stern warning that he will show no mercy if Rei betrays them. Lilia, having already foreseen this outcome, gives her consent to the monitoring plan. With the consensus reached, Liberota officially grants approval for Rei to stay under executive supervision, much to Noah's delight. As the meeting disperses, Lilia questions how Liberota intends to explain a pet monster to the lower-ranking guardians. He decides to take his time and asks for her assistance when the moment comes. On her way out, Lilia stops to commend Will, impressed that a rookie managed to block Tsubaki's strike head-on. Will humbly downplays the feat, though he admits the blow was heavier than he let on. Liberota expresses satisfaction with the promising new recruits, but Noah interrupts the moment to confront him. She is furious that Rei was put in immediate danger without warning during the introduction. Liberota apologizes, but implies the test was a necessary inevitability. Noah, unsatisfied, pivots to the issue of the supplies. She slams the book onto the table, demanding an explanation and accusing him of mocking her inability to read. Rei seethes silently, ready to hold a grudge if this was indeed a malicious prank. However, Liberota looks genuinely confused and denies including the book in the official supply drop. A smirk crosses his face as realization hits. The book was not an official supply item, but a personal gift from Will, who had been on the night shift and likely wanted to welcome Noah in his own clumsy way. Liberota explains the misunderstanding, suggesting it was a well-intentioned present from the awkward guardian. Rei finds the situation pathetic but endearing, mentally giving Will a 0 for execution, but acknowledging the effort. Noah's anger toward Will evaporates, but she still holds Liberota accountable for the earlier ambush. To settle the score, she proposes a deal. If Liberota teaches her and Rei how to read and write, she will forgive the transgression. The supervisor scratches his head, resigned to his new role as a tutor, and agrees to the terms. Rei is overjoyed at the prospect of finally learning to read, seeing it as a major step forward in his new life. Meanwhile, the house becomes a hub of activity as other young guardians stop by to meet the new recruit. A girl named Julia takes the lead in welcoming Noah, introducing herself and the others with varied excitement. While the commotion continues downstairs, Rei remains hidden on the second floor, closely monitored by Lilia. He feels a bit overwhelmed by the noise, realizing he can't catch a break even in hiding. Lilia explains the intensity of the welcome. The southern region has been defending their territory with only 47 members, so any new ally is a precious resource. However, she notes that Rei's situation is far more complicated due to his status as a monster. Suddenly, the floorboards creak under heavy footsteps as a muscular boy barges in, loudly searching for the new friend. Up above, Rei flinches at the intrusion, while Lilia sighs, recognizing the visitor as a notorious troublemaker named Luo. He marches up to Noah and immediately demands to know her name and power level, lacking any sense of tact. Noah is confused by the vague question. Lilia descends from the second floor to intervene, scolding Luo for barging into a girl's house without permission and lacking common sense. Luo brushes off her complaints, telling her not to sweat the small details. He refocuses on Noah, insisting that power is power and demanding a demonstration. Noah quietly admits that she doesn't consider herself particularly strong in terms of physical strength. The answer leaves Luo silent for a moment, unable to process the humility. Unsatisfied, he decides to measure her strength himself. He slams his elbow onto the table, challenging her to an arm wrestling match. Lilia facepalms at his stupidity, while Rei, listening from his hiding spot, worries that the situation downstairs is becoming volatile.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.